Yeah, and actually it's a bit pricey, so I didn't buy it. Finally, I decided to buy it few months after last week after my interview at Ginza, I think. No, it's not Ginza. Anyway, so what is the title of this book? This is Entertain Us: The Rise of Nirvana. The author is Gillian Gar. Gillian Gar. If you can see in the book here, there's Chris Novoselic. I don't know who this guy is. It doesn't look like Dave Grohl, right? And of course, the great late Cobain, Kurt Cobain. Now, one of the things that I've read about Nirvana's drummer is that Dave Grohl is the sixth drummer of Nirvana, and he came at the eve of the release of Nevermind, which was, I think, the second album of Nirvana. But that album was the one that catapulted Nirvana to the music mainstream. Bleach, I remember I had the album of Bleach. I think it's an 89 album. I can't remember. I didn't Google any of this information actually. Everything is just in stock memory since I started listening to Nirvana 32 years ago or 33 years ago. I was a young, barely out of my teenage years. Yeah, and then yeah, the riff. You can hear that riff. Yeah, Cobain was, that riff, the bass riff. They talked about that in this book. Um, Chris Novoselic and Cobain were just playing. Just they made a lot of riff, and I mean Cobain on the bass. But yeah, suddenly that one from Teen Spirit was the one that became popular and immortalized Nirvana to Forever Dome. Yeah, I think the 90s was the great time for rock music. It was the height of rock music, and at the same time, it was actually the twilight of rock music. It's grunge was going up, and then after that, it was going down, 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 down. Finally, actually, when we entered the year 2000, the next millennia, rock was slowly disappearing until, well, actually, we don't know where rock is. But I heard some great rock bands are playing in Finland. Rock is still alive in that country. Actually, rock's still alive here in Japan. What happened? K-pop entered. Yeah, the K-pop years. I've talked about the BTS, but I haven't depth dived into the more detailed about the how K-pop came to be and why are they popular. Anyway, let's go back to this book. So basically, the author is talking about Nirvana in the late 80s. So they mentioned about their gigs. Being a rock band, when you're not famous yet, usually you get paid, well, not even minimum. Sometimes you get just free drinks. So in this book, they were saying Nirvana got $100 for one of their gigs. But before that, they were just receiving $20, $25. It's the same for all rock bands in the world. Even in my country, the famous rock bands there, they were just getting free beer. And they would play in bars. So it's very lucky for those rock bands who make it to the big scene and earn the mucho dinero. Basically, this book also talks a little about the aftermath. There's the last chapter, the aftermath of Nirvana. Actually, this was 10 years ago. A lot have happened since then. Cobain's guitar sold for $6 million a few years ago. $6 million in the auction, the most expensive guitar ever sold. And Cobain liked the Beatles. Actually, he mentioned many times, or I read, like Axl Rose. Axl Rose likes the Beatles. He wanted to imitate the Beatles' music also, but a Slash doesn't like that. So that's one of the reasons they broke up. Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Guns N' Roses, and some rock bands are being uh, also mentioned in this book. Cobain said, "We wanted to be popular, but we didn't imagine would be the same level as Metallica or Guns N' Roses, as the book mentions, they want to sell, but they don't want to sell out. Yeah, one of the reasons why Cobain started being addicted to heroin was because of the fame. Also, the book mentions that, which I also have read many times in the 90s. One reason why Cobain did the unfortunate act. But there were also some conspiracy theories about, Courtney Love. Courtney Hole. Hole is the band, Courtney Love's band, about killing Cobain or something because of they were going to some divorce. It's a conspiracy theory. And also, um, so the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, actually became popular after Nirvana. But if you watched one of the Howard Stern interview that time, he didn't know what to do, and Kurt died. And eventually he pulled off. Chris Novoselic, actually, this guy here uh, is the best friend of Kurt, so he loves Kurt very much. Actually, you can see some interviews in YouTube, and also this book I haven't read totally, so I'll make another video about this in more detailed about rock music and also what happened to rock music. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you also for speaking of Nirvana. Thank you for buying my book, The Guy Who Talks About Nirvana, Osho. It's a 12 volume books, and someone bought this in Mercari. Thank you so much. This is one of the most expensive book, which I accidentally just saw in Book Off. Thank you for buying this book, and as usual, my BTS book is still available. Uh, some of my J-pop books also are still available. There's rock, there's classical music. We have still Min. Min is still here. Actually, I'm thinking about giving this book for free if somebody would be the 1,000 subscriber in my YouTube channel. Well, we'll talk more about the BTS and Nirvana next time. Thank you for listening.